And welcome back. It is a fun Friday. Right turn, open your eyes. We've got a wonderful panel in as we speak. PETAL and the third anniversary. We're looking forward to this conversation. In with us is Gwen Gentle, who is the director of PETAL. Also Ifasina Efunyemi, who is the secretary at PETAL. And Simone Hill, coordinator and president of PETAL. Guys, good morning.
Good morning.
So nice to see you. You ladies are looking wonderful.
Thank you.
It is a fun Friday, and that's what we're about to do. Have some fun with information. Now let's jump on into it. Third year, PETAL. First and foremost, what is PETAL?
PETAL is a women's organization, and the acronym stands for Promoting Empowerment Through Awareness for Lesbian and Bisexual Women.
All right.
And our organization tries to focus on issues involving women.
Yeah.
And it is also to do what the methodology we created, which is conversations. Mm-hmm. And conversations inform women, particularly lesbian and bisexual women, about the laws of Belize, mm-hmm. and looking at the laws and seeing how the laws can be reformed.
Yeah.
Also doing what are called, we call PELs, and professional development training also. Mm-hmm. And we also do different activities, which would be on an educational and also fun type of way for our women.
Yeah. Now, we have to look back to 3 years ago when you decided to come together and say, we want to form our own organization focusing exclusively on women. And whether you saw yourself overcoming what I'm sure were startup hurdles and making it now to your third anniversary.
Yeah. Well, initially, because some of the work that we've been doing began in 2011.
Yeah.
But 2016 is when we decided to come out. Basically, yeah. We did a launch, and that's why we make it a habit to come in May, yeah. Because it was in May 2016 that we launched. Mm-hmm. And we saw it fit because by that time we had already registered. We were incorporated as an NGO, yeah. Which was for us a big accomplishment because it formalized the organization. We had been doing the conversations since the first one in 2011. It wasn't even called Conversations at that time, yeah. Until 2012 with Dr. McKay's input. Yeah. But we decided to regularize, have more of these activities, yeah. And formalize ourselves as an organization. Mm-hmm. So becoming an NGO was a big step for us. Mm-hmm. And we made sure that the conversations were not just happening in Belize City, but we started to reach into especially the south. So yeah. The conversations were being held in Dangriga, and then we were able to expand to Punta Gorda. We've also done conversations in the Kaya district. Yeah. We're also attempting into the north and the Keys, mm-hmm. So that the reach of PETAL is wider. And it's a women's organization, so even though it particularly focuses on lesbian and bisexual women, the activities that we have are activities that actually any woman can benefit from. Mm-hmm. So when we deal with legal issues, we talk about healthy relationships, sexual and reproductive health issues, or family issues. Those are things that affect just about any woman. Mm-hmm. And so it is a space that is that kind of safe space, yeah. That any woman can then benefit from it.
And that's what I wanted to get in, because your organization definitely working towards building awareness and supporting lesbian and bisexual women. You do have supporters who are heterosexuals or perhaps not necessarily declaring themselves anything.
Yes.
Now, let's have an honest look at this. Did you ever see yourself 3 years ago on a national media talking openly as a lesbian or bisexual woman about a larger population in this country? And what does it represent for you?
Well, initially we knew that even though we are targeting this population of women because nothing was being done specifically for this group,
yeah.
We also know that we are supported, yes, as you mentioned, by family, by yeah. friends, by other people in the wider community who are not biased, who do not discriminate, yeah. And their support is important. Yeah. Besides that, what we advocate for are things that are beneficial to them as well, or concern them likewise, which is why we create a safe space, yes, and it is important that anybody that comes into that space is respectful of this population that we're serving, so that all of us can benefit from the conversation, the forum, whatever it is that we're having. They can also give their input. The important thing is for people to see, that's why we have our familiarization meetings too, that we're all advocates. We're all trying to make life better for the average Belizean. And so if it is that we're dealing with laws or we're dealing with economic issues, anything of national concern, it is for the benefit of just about any citizen, because it's something that interests any citizen. People might think, oh, here goes another LGBT organization and it's just all about their sexuality. No, it's not all about our sexuality. When we're talking about social security, or if we're talking about the age of consent, or if we're talking about the economic situation that our people face, that is not about sexuality. That is just about being a human, a citizen of this country.
Reality,
but have you faced any forms of discrimination? I'll give an example. We know through Caleb's experience, because he's very open about it, in being a representative for Unibam, he has to face a number of challenges, whether it's just walking down the street and people saying things. Do you face the same?
Well, I would not necessarily say the face the same for me, but because we deal with women and we speak to women of our community, they do face it. So it's necessarily, for me, I can always relate to, and I think I had mentioned it before, that I faced the discrimination in housing when I was a tenant in 2 different houses where we were put out of the house because of being 2 women living together, which was a discrimination, because you can't say 2 women are lesbians because they're living in a house together.
But even if you are.
And even if you are, you know, so that was the reality, and it was shocking. Like, for example, when I went to Geneva for the Universal Periodic Review, and I was speaking to the diplomats and telling them of the challenges that LGBT persons face in Belize. Being there, it hit me. I became so emotional because I realized when I was speaking to them and lobbying them that this is my reality, that I am faced, even though sometimes that people would ask the question that you ask, sometimes because you're living and you're battling different things, you tend to forget. But when it is there, when you're now confronted and you're really asked and you're in a conversation and you sit and you begin to think about your life, like I was doing there in Geneva, I realized, so I was very overcome with emotion, which was strange for me. And then I was grappling with that also, because I think we don't focus on, people don't realize, and people take for granted that, all right, a lesbian, a woman, we're not discriminated upon. When Section 53 was, when Section 53 came out, we knew that if a woman who identified as a lesbian was chased down the street with a 2x4 by a guy in the Mesopotamia area. And so it is not a myth. We have all gone through our own challenges with discrimination.
One of the things I've read about is oftentimes how lesbian and bisexual women face a different form of discrimination, where for a homosexual man, for example, their threats are more violent. There's an over-sexualization of lesbian and bisexual women, or sometimes a dismissiveness, like, oh, you know, I can fix you, or comments of that nature. Is that the reality of Belizean women who identify as bi or lesbian?
Yes, and it's not often spoken of. So people behave as if though we don't, why are they making a fuss? Nobody tells them anything, nobody does them anything, but that isn't true. And that is why it's important to talk to people and find out what their stories are, what their experiences have been. We had done in same 2016 a needs assessment, and we spoke to 50 women from around the country, and we asked about discrimination, what their experiences were with discrimination, and some had the experience with their families, but most actually their experience was in the workplace and in public spaces. It is sexual harassment, for example, that happens a lot. And people take sexual harassment as if though it's something minor, but it is not, because that is that is right the beginning point of where violence can come, and it is a form of violence.
It is.
Because who wants to be hearing anything that is negative or suggestive when you're walking the street? You should be able to walk freely without being bothered, without being told anything, especially something that is negative. Now, a lot of people that do sexually harass others believe that what they're saying is okay, it's acceptable. Imagine if we would...
Because there's no overt threat of violence.
Yes. Now, imagine if we would return the same thing, like start to say, catcall and all of that, the people that do the same thing to us, would they like it really? Maybe because of patriarchy, men might say, oh, I wouldn't mind if I am told these things because it's acceptable. That means somebody admires me. But that doesn't mean that you want it. You don't want to be told certain things, especially sexually suggestive things. It's threatening. It's intimidating. It is, for me now, I have come a long way because of my years of advocacy. So maybe I might not get it, but that doesn't mean that other women don't experience it. And I do want to ask Miss Gwen to chime in here because she is an older woman, as you could see, and her experience is much different from...
And she's been nodding her head the whole
Yes.
Go ahead and tell us that story.
Yes, I have been nodding my head because indeed I have been through a lot of stigma and discrimination coming up as a young person, you know. I have been stoned, I have been called names, you know, and at the time, well, there was nothing to look forward to, no one to turn to, you know. So I appreciate being a member of PETAL because I always look forward to going to conversations and things like that because then it inspires you in a way, and what they do is try to talk to you and let you know that you're not alone. You know, that one of the things about it, you're not alone, because then having someone there to talk to, letting you know what is your right, you know, looking into different laws and things. I mean, it gives you that knowledge to know that, this is your right to be who you want to be, you know, and no one's supposed to be there to take it away from you, because then you got to be you.
You know what I'm
Gwen,
getting?
did you ever envision in your lifetime that you would be a part of an organization with openly gay women?
No, no. I have never ever, envisioned it, because everything in the days gone by and even up to recently, you know, like him, in the closet, you know. But one day, Miss Hill came to me and he said, Miss Gwen, we have one gala and I want to invite you out to the gala. And I looked at her, I said, Miss Hill, I said, man, I said, how much should the ticket? He said, $100. I said, Miss Hill, right now, me can't afford that, because I'm try to fix my house. So he looked at me and said, okay then. Next minute, you know, I get 2 tickets. And he told me that I have won the ticket. So I went to the gala. And to my surprise, the amount of people I met there. And the space was quite open, it was quite safe. And I enjoyed myself. I looked at Miss Hill and I tell her, I say, you know what happened? If you should ever need anything, you can ask me, or if you want me, you have meetings and things, I say, I'm willing to come out. And right from there, I start meeting my steps, and I had become a part. And that was 3 years ago.
What did that represent to you, to be able to go to a gala openly with a partner and not consider what everybody will think? And you're all smiling. That was...
Well, I tell you, it was very, very good for me. I enjoyed myself because, you know, I have always wanted to go to the Love FM. What they
the
call
dances,
it.
Yeah.
And I say, no, I don't think I want to go there, because then I won't be able to dance with my partner. And I always have that longing to go. And one day I met a young lady and said, you know, he said, I went to Love FM and dance. He said, and people they look at you and they skin up at you. He said, one time somebody had to pass some remark on them. I said, well, it don't make sense for I go. So when I went to this gala and I have experienced this gala, it was so refreshing to me that I have been able to go out and enjoy a dance
As who you are.
as who I am
Yeah.
with my partner. So,
peer.
you know, the space
Yeah.
have been freed for we, and I appreciate what Miss Hill has done, and we are still trying to, you know, get more people involved into the space.
Oh, Miss Gwen,
I want to ask one more question just on that. The experience that Gwen just shared, I think, is such a pivotal one because it's the little things that we take for granted. And a safe space is so important. A safe, non-judgmental space is so important. How do you, I know you have family days, I know you have a bunch of other events, and as I've said many times before, it's not just because it's women who identify as bi or lesbian, it's people who are comfortable enough, open enough, and aware enough to know that human rights are human rights. What have you found as the change in the women from your organization having this safe space to just be themselves?
I think that's the empowerment that we aim for as an organization. I think once women get to where they know they are safe, they have their rights, they know that they can just be, that is the empowering thing for them. So they can be more vocal in their own defense, in their spaces, their homes and their workplaces. They can stand up for themselves. We watched one of our members come on TV because she was facing issues with the police and things like that. So I think the more informed women become, and that's the whole idea behind promoting empowerment through awareness, because the more people know, then the more they can do for themselves. And I think that's the growth we've seen with the women that have participated, and not just lesbian women, the people that support us, our family members who come, our friends who come, people who support us and come to our activities. They're able to benefit from the knowledge that we're sharing with them, because human rights are human rights for everybody. So if everybody knows what their rights are, then they can defend themselves you know, in any space. So I think that's one of our biggest accomplishments, because we've seen the women really improve in their own personal advocacy for themselves.
What are some of the other milestones that you look back over 3 years? 3 years is a short time, but also a very long time for the work that you do.
It is.
What are some of the other milestones that just come to mind immediately?
We have the gala, and every year we're seeing it grow. I think that's it's our major fundraiser. And
when is the gala?
It's in February, every time for Valentine's. Right? So it gives the opportunity to come out and have dinner and see if it's beautifully decorated, thanks to Sharice Talbert and our team. And we make sure that there's dinner, there's dessert, there's music, it's just a wonderful, safe space to have fun for the Valentines. And everybody deserves to have that, because everybody has love in their life, so why not be able to enjoy that? And it's our fundraiser, because as an NGO, yes, we may apply for project funds, but we also have to make our own money so that we are able to continue the work that we're doing. So whether or not we have project funds, we can still have conversations, or we can still have our personal and professional development trainings and all the other things that we do. So seeing the gala grow over the years, the Women's Forum as well, which we make sure happens every year around International Women's Day in March. That's another major thing for us, and that's something we're going to continue to do. So in addition to having the conversations every month and all across the country, where we make sure that the Women's Forum is something that happens. The trainings are also things that we do, and in August for Pride, we have been having showcases that are more creative, giving the members of the community the opportunity to showcase their talent. So like the first year we had an extravaganza, a different Simone came out at that time.
Why don't we get that story? Simone, you can take off the president hat now.
It was just like a variety show, and when we were in the process of planning, I had told him that, in a very long time I had not wear a dress, and and so I did that, and Ifasina came and I was standing at the entrance and she didn't recognize me.
Really?
My friend Kelvin came and she introduced Kelvin to me, and at first he didn't recognize me, and it was cool. It was more of a show. And so we tried to find creative ways through education and educating also.
Yeah. So finally, people with the mindset that I'm not able to, and it's so sad that they have to live with just within that particular span. And this is this is one of the things I wanted to say to Miss Gwen, for the fact that finally you're able, after all those years, you're able to finally live.
And I feel free.
Yeah.
And
renewed life.
And I feel happy, because then I feel myself that yes, this of me, nobody can take this away from me, and it isn't good to be trying to be who you're not.
Yeah.
It's better being yourself. The feeling of being yourself is great.
But there's still a lot of people right now, we know that time is not on our side, there's still a lot of people, a lot of women who still live within that span, right there in the mind. They're still so afraid, but would want to reach out to PETAL. How can they do that?
We have our Facebook page. Yeah. We have an office. We can be reached by email as well. We can be reached by phone, 607-4865. And people can look us up. If you send us a message, we will respond almost immediately, because Charisse keeps quick tabs on that on the Facebook page. Yeah. And also petalbze@gmail.com is our email address. Our office is at 17 Bishop Street, and any of us can be reached. And I just want to say, to especially look with Miss Gwen, and we also have Christy Torres and Sharima McKenzie. These are the new people that are now a part of the expanded team. If you notice, over the last years, it was just 3 of us, and also Dr. McKay. Yeah. Now we have Miss Janine Longsworth as well, who is a mental health therapist that volunteers with us. And we still have McKay on our team. And then now we have these other 3 women. Yeah. And so the team is expanded, and the work continues. Miss Gwen has even facilitated trainings in woodwork. Yes. If you check out our Facebook page, you'll see that there are several products that have been done because of her leadership. And so this year we're doing more of those, so that for Pride, we will push your product. That's what PETAL is going to be promoting for Pride this year. And the things we're creating, those are the things that we're going to be selling.
And this year we're doing more on economic empowerment.
Yeah. I know you've also worked, or you've been talking about some legislative changes, looking at policies as well, and it is a part of your bigger concern. What you pointed out, I think the fact that you're discriminated in terms of being able to access housing, it's a clear issue. Where do you see yourself in terms of the advocacy and being able to have everyone have equal access, especially to housing and when it comes to human rights?
Well, that's part of the reason why we have our familiarization meetings. That's a part of our advocacy. So we do meet with government leaders, agencies, and we also meet with NGOs and civil society organizations who are involved in the process. Right now, there is the anti-discrimination legislation that is being worked on, and we are a part of that process. We had met with the National Committee for Families and Children. We work closely with the Special Envoy, the Ministry of Human Development, and so on. So those partnerships help us to have our voices heard when it comes to legislative reform. And when we have the forum, and even in our conversations, that provides the opportunity for people to give us feedback on what their concerns might be, what the changes are that they want to see happen. And then when we have these meetings, we can say to the ministers of government and so on, this is what the population that we serve, this is what they're saying, these are the concerns they have. We sit in the meetings, we attend the meetings, we participate in the consultations, because we want to make sure that the voice of especially lesbian women is counted, is included in the process.
What's the best feedback you've gotten over the past 3 years that just reminds you that you made the right choice in getting the organization started? Simone, start with
feedback.
you. The best thing anyone has said to you in the past 3 years?
Well, the best feedback has been from Miss Gwen, and she has said it eloquently. That has been the best feedback
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
So for a lot of the women, they talked about if they didn't have a space like what we create, or they wouldn't have the opportunity to learn so much. And this is even from like my family members, people who are close to me, who also have come because they support me.
Yeah.
And it's so important for family to support
Yes.
each other. So them coming, them benefiting, that's for me one of the most enriching things, is having the support of the family.
You know, one of the things for me, you know, what I feel great about and feel good is because I have gotten the opportunity through this organization to impart what I know, a little of what I know to other people, you know, especially where the woodwork is concerned, because I love wood, you know. I come out Mr. Frank Lizama class, and you know, that's my thing, you know, craft and wood.
Yeah.
So I got people from out of the same organization coming around, and I teach them what I know. So far we have made the little stands that are put behind the toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made that. I made napkin holders. I made toilet paper holders. We have graters.
That's a grater?
Yes, we make graters, and we have cutting boards, you know,
Yeah.
and several other little things that is still in the making, you know.
Yeah.
So being able to share your skills.
Yes, I've been able to share my skills with others, and it has been great for me. So.
Yes, and it was good because I needed work in my bathroom done, and Miss Gwen was able to
You are the
do it,
perfect
yes.
partner there.
Yeah.
So how are we celebrating the anniversary?
Work. Well, one of the things is that because at PETAL we have this large workload, so there isn't much time, as it's a voluntary organization.
Yeah.
We do voluntary work. We haven't been really celebrating. I think because also the wellness fun day comes around that time. That is the time when we played. So we played on the 12th Mother's Day.
the
So we got to play them. And also I want to mention something.
On the beach.
Yeah.
Yes.
Breaking. You're only breaking.
Yes, on the beach in Dangriga. That was great.
That was good,
But
right?
we moved back to our original spot next year, which is Golf Ski. One of the things I want to mention is I must shout out my mother and say hi to my mom. My mom has come a long way over the years, and I'm so proud of her as much as she's proud of me. But I'm proud of my mother because I remembered one time I came on television and said, you know, my mom, she never supported me, and she, you know, she's like this way, like, you know what I mean? And so when my mom saw me, she said, Simone, you never made me understood about my sexuality.
Yeah.
So, you know, you said this thing on television. I think that is one of the things for us to express ourselves. We forget our family, and we don't speak to them.
Yeah.
And so that was why PETAL did the parent to child socialization on stigma and discrimination. So I want to say, Mom, you know, I'm sorry, and now at this time in my life, I realize, and so I'm glad that you understand, and that one day maybe you'll be able to come to the wellness day, because a lot of people want to hear about my mom and see my mom as leading this organization.
That's sure
Simone,
area.
that's so beautiful.
Yeah,
I think
know,
that's such a
I
great
know.
transition. Thank
Wow,
you for
man.
sharing that story with us. It's personal, but it is, I think, something that everyone can identify with in wanting
Yes.
parents support and being proud and building that relationship.
Yeah.
Ladies, you have done great work. It's only 3 years in. There's a lot more to go.
Oh, many years.
But
many
we
years.
do wish you the best of luck and congratulations on your 3rd anniversary.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very
We're
much.
going to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be closing off the show with Traveler's Cocktails, so stay tuned.